Welcome to the Heartbreak Chronicles, where every story is a raw reflection of life. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned, give us a like to show your support, and share this episode with your friends. Don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what you think. Now, let's dive into today's story. I'm Ethan Collins, CEO and founder of Pinnacle Medical Technologies. We are a $200 million market capitalization medical technology company based in Silicon Valley. We have been an industry leader for the past decade, but things have taken a sharp turn for the worse in recent months. It all started last winter. We had just completed the development of a groundbreaking AI-assisted diagnostic technology that should have been an opportunity for the company to take off. However, just as we were about to file our patent application, our main competitor, Meditech, suddenly announced a nearly identical technology. This is puzzling because our research and development has been highly confidential. Immediately thereafter, negative news about our company began to circulate in the market. Claims that our products pose serious safety risks, while completely nonsensical, have nonetheless sparked widespread concern. Our stock price began to fall, and within a week it was down almost 20%. I called an emergency meeting to try to get to the root of the problem. But at the end of each session, I felt more confused and frustrated. Our marketing department was unable to find the source of these rumors, and our legal team was unable to stop the spread of this false information. It was at this point that I noticed something strange. My partner and head of corporate security, Oliver Denham, seemed indifferent to the whole situation. He was always distracted in the meetings and had no constructive comments on our crisis response strategies. What's even more disturbing is that I've heard he's been buying a lot of company stock at low prices lately. One night, I was working late at the office alone when I stumbled upon Oliver's computer without a lock screen. On a hunch, I checked his recent email correspondence. I know it's not very ethical, but I have to figure out what's going on. I found a couple of suspicious emails regarding some transactions with confidential company information. Although Meditech was not explicitly mentioned in the email, my gut tells me that Oliver may have been the mole who leaked our technology. I decided to secretly investigate Oliver. I contacted a trusted private investigator and asked him to monitor Oliver's every move. At the same time, I began to pay more attention to my wife Sophia's behavior. Sophia and I have been married for 8 years. She's 9 years younger than me, a beautiful, intelligent, and vibrant woman. We've been happily married, at least I think so. But lately, I've noticed that she and Oliver seem a little too close to each other. At company parties, they always come together and whisper. On a couple of occasions, I've come home later than usual and noticed Sophia looking a little flustered, as if she's hiding something. At first, I tried to convince myself it was just my paranoia, but as the company got worse and worse, I began to doubt everyone around me. I started going through Sophia's cell phone records and credit card bills, and even installed hidden cameras in our bedroom. I know it's mean, but I have to know the truth. The investigation has been going on for a couple of weeks, and finally there's been a breakthrough. A private investigator captured photos of Oliver in a secret meeting with a Meditech executive. What's even more shocking to me is that he also caught Sophia and Oliver having a rendezvous at a fancy hotel. The moment I saw those photos, I felt like my whole world fell apart. The two people I trusted most, my best friend and my wife, betrayed me. My anger almost consumed me, but I forced myself to calm down. I need more evidence, and I need a perfect plan to expose their conspiracy. I decided to stay put for now and continue to gather evidence. I secretly installed listening devices and monitored all of Oliver's communications. I also got a computer expert to help me hack into Oliver and Sophia's computer. As the investigation deepens, a horrific conspiracy comes to the surface. Oliver wasn't just selling company secrets, he was secretly manipulating the stock market, spreading false news to suppress our share price. His ultimate goal was to drive the company's stock price to its lowest point and then launch a hostile takeover bid to kick me out. And Sophia, my beloved wife, turned out to be Oliver's accomplice. She used my trust in her to steal my personal account information and confidential company documents. She also uses her charisma to extract information from other company executives to pass on to Oliver. I felt both angry and heartbroken. I used to think Sophia was the most precious gift in my life, but I didn't realize she was a viper. I began to think back on our marriage, trying to figure out when I had been kept in the dark. All those memories that I once thought were sweet now seem suspicious and false. But I don't have time to wallow in self-pity. The company was facing an unprecedented crisis, and I had to take action. I began to formulate a plan, one that would save the company and at the same time punish the betrayer. I knew that the rest of the way would be tough, but I had no choice. I had to save the company that I had built with my life's work, and I had to get justice for all the employees and investors who had put their trust in me. This is not just for me, but for all the patients who rely on Pinnacle. Our technology saves lives, and I can't let it fall into the hands of evil. With each day that passes, I feel myself becoming colder and colder. I used to be a believer in love and friendship, but now I only believe in evidence and profit. I knew I had to become more cunning than Oliver and more ruthless than Sophia to win this battle. And that's just the beginning. The real fight has just begun. As my investigation progressed, I gradually uncovered the full extent of this sickening conspiracy. Each new discovery was like a sharp blade, stabbing me hard in the heart. The people I once trusted are now my worst enemies. Oliver Denham, my longtime friend and business partner, turned out to have been secretly plotting my destruction. By hacking into his computer, I found a large number of emails to and from Meditech executives. These emails detail how he betrayed our technical secrets. Not only that, but he used his position as head of security to plant spies for Meditech into our R&D department. What's even more shocking to me is that Oliver is still secretly manipulating the stock market. He hired a group of so-called cyber squatters to spread negative news about Pinnacle on social media and investment forums. These rumors concern the safety of our products, the financial health of our company, and even my personal reputation. No wonder our share price has been falling and investor confidence has been badly shaken. Oliver's ultimate goal was clear. He wanted to buy Pinnacle at a very low price and kick me out completely. In his plan, once the stock price fell to a certain threshold, he would join with other investors to launch a hostile takeover. If successful, he'll not only control the entire company, he'll be able to turn around and sell our technology to Meditech for a huge profit. But it was my wife Sophia's betrayal that hurt me the most. At first, I thought Sophia was just a pawn of Oliver's, being used by him to get information. But as the investigation progressed, I realized that things were far more complicated than I had imagined. By listening in on their calls and reviewing their communication logs, I discovered to my horror that Sophia was the real mastermind of the plot. She's not just Oliver's lover, she's the mastermind of the plot. Turns out Sophia knew Oliver long before we were married. They used to go to college together and were in a relationship. They set this up carefully. Sophia married me and gained my trust. Oliver entered the company as my longtime friend and became my right-hand man. Their goal was clear from the start: to take control of Pinnacle and then sweep me off my feet. I think back to the night I proposed to Sophia. It was moonlit, and I got down on one knee and held the ring in my hand. Sophia had tears in her eyes and said she had never been happier. Now that I think about it, I'm afraid there was nothing but sarcasm and smugness in those tears. Throughout these 8 years of marriage, Sophia has been patiently weaving her cobwebs. She used my trust in her to keep stealing confidential company information. She even used her charm to extract information from other executives in the company. All those social events that I thought were harmless turned out to be elaborate traps for her. The most chilling part was when I found out Sophia had been secretly taking birth control pills. For the past 8 years, whenever I've mentioned having a child, she's always said to wait, that it's a critical time in her career. And in fact, she never intended to have my child. In her eyes, I'm probably just a tool to be used and ruthlessly discarded once I've lost my value. I also found out that Sophia has a secret offshore account. The account has accumulated tens of millions of dollars, apparently earned by her labor over the years of betraying me. And to add to my anger, I found out that she has been contacting divorce lawyers lately, apparently in preparation for the final closing. As I sat in my darkened study, replaying the evidence over and over again, I felt a wave of loneliness and despair like no other. My career, my marriage, my life was built on an elaborate lie. I used to think I was a successful entrepreneur with a happy family. Now I realized that I was just a poor man who was kept in the dark. But I quickly squashed that self-pity. I, Ethan Collins, am not the type of person to admit defeat easily. I'm determined to play this game to the end and make those who betrayed me pay. I started making my own plans. First, I need to protect the company's core assets. I secretly contacted a few trusted executives to transfer our latest technological achievements to a secret server. Then I started gathering more evidence of Oliver and Sophia's crimes. I knew that to defeat them once and for all, I needed to have enough evidence to send them to jail. At the same time, I was secretly reaching out to some key shareholders and board members. I need to make sure they're on my side when it counts. It hasn't been easy, because the Oliver rumors have shaken many people's faith in me. But I knew that by showing them the truth, they would realize who was really looking out for the company. The hardest part was continuing to disguise myself in front of Sophia. Every night, I have to force myself to go back to that home of lies and face the woman who betrayed me. I had to act as I always did, as if I knew nothing about what she was doing. It was a great torture for me, but I knew I had to endure it for the success of the program. There were times when I could barely contain myself, especially when Sophia looked at me with her beautiful eyes and gently asked me if work was going well. I almost blurted out all the truth, but each time I restrained myself in time. I know that now is not the time for a showdown. In this invisible war, I gradually became cold and cunning. I'm beginning to understand that in the mall, sometimes you have to become the kind of person you hate in order to survive. I began to think the way they did, predicting their every move. I knew that the only way I could win this fight was to be tougher than them. Over time, my plan took shape. I knew that I was about to face the biggest challenge of my life. But I'm ready. I'm going to make Oliver and Sophia realize that they made a fatal mistake. They underestimated my determination and intelligence. I'm waiting for the perfect moment, a chance to crush them in one fell swoop. I knew that this opportunity would come soon. At that time, I will make them pay dearly for their betrayal. I, Ethan Collins, swear that I will take back what is rightfully mine and rebuild Pinnacle's glory. It's not just for me. It's for all the patients who rely on our technology, for all the employees and investors who trust me. The battle had just begun, and I, for one, was ready to win. With all the evidence gradually coming into place, I was faced with a difficult choice. Should I choose to put the matter to rest and preserve my company's and my personal reputation, or should I choose to publicize the truth and bring the betrayer to justice? This decision will completely change the trajectory of my life. I am well aware that Pinnacle will face an unprecedented crisis of confidence if it chooses to publicize the truth. Our stock price could hit rock bottom, and the brand image we've built over the years could crumble overnight. More importantly, patients who rely on our technology may be affected. However, there is a voice inside me that keeps reminding me that justice must be done. If I choose to hide the truth, then I become complicit and part of that corrupt system that I have been fighting for so long. After a few days of deep thought, I made the decision that I would expose the conspiracy, no matter what it took. I began to carefully plan my counterattack. First, I need more evidence, especially about Oliver's criminal behavior. I know Oliver is cautious, but everyone has a weakness. By carefully analyzing his behavioral patterns, I discovered that he also had a secret email address that he used to contact Meditech executives. I contacted a top hacker and asked him to help hack this email address. It may not be very legal, but considering what Oliver did, I think it's acceptable. The hack was successful, and I obtained a wealth of critical evidence, including detailed emails of Oliver discussing with Meditech executives how to steal our technology. Next, I need to deal with Sophia. I know she's smart, and it's hard to get direct evidence of her crimes. But I came up with a plan to capitalize on her feelings for Oliver. I started hinting to Sophia that I suspected Oliver was betraying the company. I told her that I had noticed some suspicious money movement that looked like someone was selling company secrets to Meditech. I said I was looking into the matter, but there was no conclusive evidence yet. As I expected, Sophia was immediately alert. She begins to contact Oliver frequently, warning him to be careful. During their conversation, Sophia inadvertently revealed a lot of crucial information, which was recorded by my secretly installed listening devices. At the same time, I was moving secretly within the company. I shared part of the truth with several trusted executives and received their support. We began secretly restructuring the company's management to ensure that it would continue to function even in the worst-case scenario. Finally, on a Friday afternoon, I felt the time was right. I called an emergency board meeting claiming there was a major matter to discuss. Once everyone had arrived, including Oliver and a couple of remote board members who were attending via video link, I got my act together. Directors, I spoke. I've called you all here today because I've uncovered a plot that seriously threatens the survival of the company. I saw Oliver's face suddenly turn pale, but he quickly regained his composure. I continued, over the past few months, someone has been selling company secrets to our competitors, manipulating our stock price, and attempting a hostile takeover. Then I began to show the evidence I had gathered one by one. Oliver's secret emails, photos of meetings with Meditech executives, and records of money movement. Each piece of evidence acted as a hammer to shatter Oliver's carefully constructed lies. When I finished presenting the last piece of evidence, there was dead silence in the room. Everyone looks at Oliver in shock while he's completely frozen like a deer caught in the headlights. "Oliver," I said calmly, "do you have anything else to say?" Oliver attempted to defend himself, claiming that the evidence was fabricated and that someone was setting him up. But his defense paled and no one believed him. It was at this point that I pulled out my ace in the hole, Sophia's recording. In these recordings, Sophia not only admits to her affair with Oliver, but also describes in detail how they hatched the plot. When Oliver hears Sophia's voice, he breaks down completely. He dropped into a chair and muttered, "It's over. It's all over." Turning to the other board members, I said, "Gentlemen, I know this truth is shocking, but I believe that only by confronting the problem head-on can we truly resolve it. I recommend that Oliver be relieved of his duties immediately and that the police be called to deal with this matter. In the meantime, we need to hold a press conference to explain the situation to the public and our shareholders." The directors agreed. With my authorization, I immediately called the police. Soon after, Oliver was taken away. The next few days were a nightmare. The news media went wild with the scandal, and our stock price plummeted again. But I know that this is a necessary pain. At the press conference, I was open to all questions. I admitted to a gaping hole in the company's management that allowed this to happen, but I also emphasized that it was the company's internal self-inspection that uncovered the problem, which is a testament to our integrity and ability to self-correct. I announced a series of measures to strengthen the company's internal management and security systems. I am committed to fully cooperating with the law enforcement authorities in their investigations and pledge to be accountable to all shareholders and employees. To my surprise, the public response has been better than I expected. Many have praised our honesty and courage. Some analysts even believe that this crisis may make Pinnacle stronger. However, the storms in personal life have just begun. When the police came to my house to arrest Sophia, she finally broke down. She fell to her knees, cried, and apologized to me, saying that she was really in love with me and regretted being part of this conspiracy. Watching her go pear-shaped shook me up inside for a split second, but I quickly remembered the years of deception and betrayal, and my heart grew cold once again. "That's enough, Sophia," I said calmly. "It's over." When the police took her away, I felt a wave of relief, but also a deep sadness. 8 years of marriage, and that was the end of it. Over the next few months, I devoted myself to rebuilding the company. We have undertaken a massive internal reorganization, strengthened security measures, and reorganized our management team. I personally visited key customers and investors to reassure them of the company's future. Slowly, things began to improve. Our new product gained market acceptance, and the stock price began to recover. What's more, a new culture has developed across the company, with a greater focus on integrity and transparency. I have also become more mature and stable after the storm. I've learned to be more careful about trusting others, but also to value those who still support me in a crisis. A year later, when I stood at the podium at the annual general meeting, I felt immensely proud. Pinnacle not only survived the crisis, it became stronger than ever. Our stock is at record highs, and our technology is helping millions of patients around the world. I look around and see faces full of confidence and anticipation. I know we still have a long way to go, but we have proven our resilience and strength. Finally, I said into the microphone, Shareholders, thank you for your trust and support of Pinnacle over the past year. We have experienced unprecedented challenges, but together we have survived. Pinnacle is stronger today than it has ever been, thanks to everyone here. Together, let's continue to work towards creating a healthier world. The applause was loud and clear. In this moment, I knew that we had finally gotten through the hardest part. In the future, there are brighter paths waiting to be explored. Pinnacle and I personally went through a difficult time after the revelation of Oliver and Sophia's plot. The company's reputation took a serious hit, and at one point our stock price fell to an all-time low. Many believe that Pinnacle may never regain its former glory. But I didn't give up. Instead, I see this crisis as an opportunity to reinvent the company. I am confident that if we can learn from this lesson, Pinnacle can become stronger than ever. First, I set out to reorganize the company's management. I promoted some young employees who had done well in the crisis and brought in some industry veterans. My goal is to create a leadership team that is both innovative and experienced. Secondly, I have substantially increased the transparency of the company. We began releasing detailed financial reports and R&D progress to the public on a regular basis. I also personally participated in a number of online Q&A sessions to answer questions from investors and the public. These measures have greatly enhanced public confidence in us. We don't stop at technology development either. Instead, we have increased our investment in research and development. I firmly believe that only through continuous innovation can we remain at the forefront of this highly competitive industry. We have set up a dedicated innovation lab to encourage our employees to try out new ideas. This effort soon began to pay off. 6 months later, we launched a revolutionary smart medical monitoring device. The device monitors patients' physiological indicators in real time and analyzes them using artificial intelligence technology to provide timely warnings of potential health risks. This product was widely acclaimed by the medical community upon its launch, and orders came in like a tidal wave. At the same time, I have not neglected to rebuild the culture within the company. I am acutely aware that a healthy company culture is critical to preventing similar incidents from happening again. We have developed a stricter code of ethics and an anonymous reporting system to encourage employees to report any suspicious behavior in a timely manner. I also pay special attention to the well-being of my employees. We have increased employee benefits, improved the work environment, and even set up an in-house daycare center for the convenience of employees with children. I want every Pinnacle employee to feel respected and valued, and thus more loyal to the company. These efforts soon paid off. Our employee satisfaction has increased dramatically and turnover has dropped to an all-time low. More importantly, I felt a positive vibe throughout the company. Everyone is working to rebuild Pinnacle to its glory. After almost a year of hard work, Pinnacle has finally turned the corner. Our new products have been a great success, and our market share continues to grow. Our share price began to rise steadily and soon exceeded its pre-crisis level. What is even more gratifying to me is that our contribution in the medical field is widely recognized. I have received countless thank you notes from patients about how they have gotten better because of our technology. It made me realize in a profound way that our work is not just about profit, it's about making a real difference in people's lives. While the company is gradually getting on track, my personal life has also experienced great changes. The divorce proceedings with Sophia are finally over, and although the process was excruciating, I feel relieved. I began to re-examine my life and think about what was really important. I realized that in the past I was so focused on my career that I neglected other important aspects of my life. I've decided to change that. I started spending more time with my family and reconnecting with old friends. I even started learning new hobbies like painting and cooking. These activities have made my life so much more colorful. I have also become more calm and compassionate at work. My past experiences have taught me that everyone can make mistakes, and that it is important to learn from them and become better. I started listening to my staff more and trying to see things from a different perspective. Not only does this make me a better leader, it makes me a better person. One day, 2 years later, I stood on the top floor of Pinnacle's new headquarters building overlooking all of Silicon Valley. The sun was shining, the hills were rolling in the distance, and there was a steady stream of traffic in the near distance. I can't help but think back on all the experiences I've had over the past few years with a lot of emotion. Just then, my assistant walked in and informed me that the board meeting was about to begin. I took a deep breath, straightened my suit, and walked to the conference room. In the conference room, the directors were already seated. I looked around and saw eyes of trust and anticipation. This is in stark contrast to that emergency board meeting 2 years ago. I cleared my throat and began my report. Directors, I am pleased to announce that Pinnacle has completely emerged from the haze of the crisis. Not only have we recovered our vigor, we have reached a new height. I reported in detail on the company's metrics. Our market capitalization had surpassed $500 million, nearly double what it was before the crisis. Our new products are licensed for use in more than 20 countries around the world and are helping millions of patients improve their quality of life. We have also been recognized as an employer of choice and most innovative company. But, I continued, I think our greatest achievement is not the numbers, but the fact that we have rebuilt a healthier, more resilient organization. We now have a stronger corporate culture, higher ethical standards, and a more focused mission. We're not just a tech company, we're working to create a healthier world. After the meeting, an older board member came over and tapped me on the shoulder. Ethan, he said, you did a great job. You not only saved the company, you made it stronger. But most importantly, you've grown yourself. You are now not only a great CEO, but a true leader. I smiled gratefully, my heart filled with emotion. Yes, this crisis did change me and made me a better person. That night, I was home alone, sitting on my balcony looking at the stars. I thought about the past, the hard decisions, the sleepless nights, the questions and criticisms. But I also think of those who continue to support me in difficult times, the patients who have been given a new lease on life because of our technology, and the employees who work tirelessly for the future of our company. I took a deep breath and felt the peace within me. I know that there will still be challenges ahead, but I'm ready for them. Because now I am no longer the easily deceived Ethan. I am stronger, wiser, and more appreciative of what really matters. I raised the coffee cup in my hand and made a silent toast to the stars. Here's to the past, because it shaped who I am now. Here's to the present, because it's full of endless possibilities. Here's to the future, because I know that the best is still ahead. The Pinnacle story continues, and I, Ethan Collins, am ready for the next challenge. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have a story to share about your own or someone else's experience, please feel free to contact me. Take care.